This is the start of something new. This is the start of something true.
Magical. And welcome, magical beings.
Hello, new Earthlings. Good to be here again with you.
Yeah. So we thought about hopping in and talking about a topic that can be very triggering for some, but it's very important for our awakening, whether it's individual awakening or collective awakening. So welcome everybody. Let us know if you can hear us well, if the sound well, and where are you watching us from?
Ravel is saying, for the same reason that butterflies go back to being caterpillars. So, we're here in this spiritual hub in Ecuador, and it's an amazing place. There's so many conscious people here. And yet we have met like at least 5 people who've gone from being vegan to back to eating dead animals. And some of them have even gone from raw veganism to cooked food and then to eating fish and eggs and such.
Yeah, and I want to enforce the idea here that we are not here to judge people for being bad or wrong or unethical to doing the decision. We are doing this live stream to share our experience and our way of understanding human evolution and spiritual awakening in this. And yeah, so from here we can continue.
Yeah, so we want to share our perspective on what is going on with all these people who are going backwards, even after 10 years on the vegan diet. Why would anyone do that?
Yeah.
Hi, John
Hey John,
from
welcome.
Greece. Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
We have Ravel from Norway, I guess, also.
Amazing. Yeah, so what we have noticed is like a common theme amongst the people who go backwards is that the decision to eat vegan was not coming from an integrated place to begin with. So there might have been a shadow reason of wanting to be perfect, wanting to feeling angry and needing somewhere to put the anger towards someone, or having this feeling of wanting to be perfect human being. So it's actually coming sometimes from a self-hating place. Especially I find this a lot within the raw vegans, where it's like, okay, if I fail in this, if I don't manage to be vegan or raw, I can't be with myself. So, or I believe that I won't be deserving of love or belonging or connection. So it's coming from this place of, you know it's like a strict parent forcing a child to be a certain way.
Yeah, we have a video about how to understand our internal parts. It's usually those parts they call the managers, and they force us to be good people. They force us to be doing certain things. Like if your decision to go vegan is coming only from this manager, that, oh, animals are suffering, you must go vegan, and not take on board all other aspects of you. That's not coming from integrated place.
Yes, and what Ravel is saying is so true. Veganism is not a diet. They
Yeah.
must have been eating plant-based, but not having integrated the values of veganism really truly within themselves.
Yeah.
Like even when someone calls themselves vegan, but they haven't truly made the connection in their heart and felt it in their inner being that we are all connected and all life is sacred. Because once you're at that point where you feel that deep within your core, there's no way going back. It's like the same reason you wouldn't eat your dog or you wouldn't eat
Yeah.
your neighbor's baby.
Yeah.
That's how, that's the intensity of, of being vegan and what it would feel like to go back to eating animals. So I think that's very true, Rebel, that the people who go backwards didn't actually make the true connection at their core values and at the feeling level.
Get
So
new
it's
people
coming from,
joining. Hey, Jelen.
hey there.
Yeah, and
Meat tastes good. We might want to argue about that,
yeah,
like
that's a
that's
good
your
point.
personal preference. I also, my
Try
question
to
is,
eat it raw
eat
and
it
raw
raw
without
without
spices.
spices. Otherwise, it's not actually the meat that tastes good. That
Yeah,
where I would like to say the dead body doesn't taste good raw.
yes, that's
Yeah.
true.
Um, and that's a great leads me to the point of why we eat animals in the first place. A lot of it is
Hmm.
emotional, guys. It's not actually the taste that we're craving after, it's the feeling signature that it gives us because our mothers gave us meat or the grandmother fed us with
Hmm.
meat, and that was the way we received love.
And it's also a belief culture. We
Mm,
believe that eating animals is normal and necessary, and without it we will go deficient, which is both not true.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and
There's a really important video about Carnism because many people think that veganism is a religion or a cult or something, but actually
mm,
Carnism is the cult. Like
mm,
veganism is a way out of the cult because eating animal is not normal, and the proof of that we don't eat dogs. Like some culture eat dogs, other not. So it's something culture. It's not something
mm,
that's coming out of awareness. It's coming.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And whenever I see, there's a lot of kids here in this community, and you always see them in all these events. And I see them eating fruit all the time.
Yeah.
The adults are making their whatever cooked meals with animals, dead animals, and the kids are just running around eating watermelons. So
Yeah.
happy, they're naturally drawn to that.
Mhm. And I believe this is a state of every child. Like if you have it like a chicken and a watermelon in front of a child, do you
Mm.
think they would run after the chicken and cut their necks and take their skin off and eat it? No, no normal child would feel that, would do that. Even like the most violent child would never do something like that. So it's not natural for us as a human to eat dead animals.
The bigger picture said, okay, I'm trolling a little. You seem nice. It's okay. You're playing a bit of a devil's advocate. We need a little bit of challenge and, someone to bring
Blade
us those
out.
arguments. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see the programming from the corpse and the desensitization. Yes, this is a
exactly.
huge reason for why we are able to do this to other living beings, because it's not just the act of eating the animal, it is what happens to them before, it is what we put them
Hmm.
through. And we
Yeah,
have to be desensitized to ignore that, to be so apathetic that we don't care, that we
yeah,
contribute to that.
exactly. We made a workshop and a lecture yesterday in the Amazon Ecuadorian Healing Festival about how our trauma
Mm,
desensitizes us as a human being, and for that we lose the connection with other human beings and with other animals. Like many people, they would go and maybe hurt animal, even kill them, and not feel the pain of how much this animal is suffering. And the same goes for other human beings who are suffering in front of us or just like
mm,
mile away from us and not feeling the pain of others.
yeah. So another reason why I believe that sometimes people go back to eating dead animals is that when we are disconnected from source, we literally believe that we need to get sustenance from others, through others, and we do this by sucking energy through other people and by eating other beings. And this is a way for us to kind of use others to get their life force energy into ourselves. So if someone goes then vegan but isn't integrated enough to feel that they are connected enough to source, they might feel tired, they might feel disconnected from life because of that. But it's not because, like, the more we integrate, the more that we are connected to source, the less sustenance we need, the less
Yeah,
heavy foods we need, the
exactly.
more we can live from less calories and on fruit, you know?
Yeah, and that
So,
explain why
yeah.
many people, when they are in their spiritual bath and spiritual awakening, it come from them. I don't feel like I need to eat meat anymore. It doesn't feel good to me anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why I believe that some people who actually they have the right idea in a way. They want to be in that state. They see the higher vibration. They want to be in that, but they're simply not in that. They haven't done the
Mm.
inner work. So when they go back to eating dead animals, they suddenly feel more energy. They feel more alive. because now they're getting the life force energy through the body of another being, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Another reason for that is why I believe that a lot of people think they need to eat dead animals is that we are profoundly ungrounded as a society. If you go to an average city, no one is really in their bodies. They cannot be because it's too overwhelming. There's too much pain in the body. There is too much we've suppressed our authentic selves and it's too painful to be in the body. So we live in the head, in the world of concepts and ideas, and we view the world from that place. So I see that a lot of heavier cooked foods and dead animals, they give us that feeling of groundedness. Not saying that this is a good way to do it, but I think that this is why a lot of people feel like they need to eat animals, is because they are so disconnected that eating that gives them a sense of groundedness. Okay, oh, I can feel my body, I'm in my body, I'm here, it has this pulling feeling that it pulls you towards the earth. Of course, that's not a healthy way to ground. Ideally, we would get out of the cities, we would start honoring our own sensitivity. I'm sorry, I need to cough. Can you cough?
Yeah, and in that we need to connect with nature. Connecting with nature actually is the biggest grounding for us as a human being. And there is even a lot of scientific study nowadays about grounding and the science of grounding and how having your feet on the ground, in the soil, in the mud, helping you to connect to earth and release a lot of maybe energy or things that you carry in your body. It's a very healing method, and it's proven scientifically that it's working.
Yeah. So if you feel that it's difficult for you to stay vegan, you feel like you just get something from eating animals, or you want to be raw but you're struggling because it just feels so good to eat cooked food, two big things here that I would recommend for you. Create a practice to connect to source. And this may sound super esoteric, but it simply means that you take time to meditate, you take time to be in the nature, you take time to get to know yourself, who you are deeply.
And breathe.
Do
Breathing
breathing
so
exercise.
important.
Second, ground yourself. This means getting out of super analytical activities or being on the technical devices, to meditate being in your body, not to visualize something else out there, but really meditate with your physical sensations, get in touch with your emotions, walk bare feet, go to nature, be in water. Doing this will ground you, and it will be much easier for you then to eat high vibrational foods, because it will not pull you off balance because you are grounded within your center.
The big picture said, I live with an eye.
With islanders, they hunt from young age. It's natural to them. I respect the idea behind veganism, but believe it's a choice, not a right or wrong.
I talked with an indigenous shaman from Brazil who's living in Ecuador, and I specifically asked him about, like, hey, in the Western culture we have this idea of indigenous, that they are hunters and they lived on hunting and that survive on that, and he said to some degree it's true that they used to hunt, but it's not their main source of food. They would do it only when there is less sources of food, like less grains, or in the season when there is like no fruit, not enough fruit, and they would do it like in a way that's like respectful for the animal. They won't go hunting, or they won't captivate the animals. And during the time, there was more and more of sufficient food sources. So many people actually do it because of habit, not because of necessity. And if indigenous people do it, doesn't mean that they are enlightened being. Many of indigenous people, they still carry tradition that doesn't serve them
Yes.
anymore. So it's not like a justification to look at
Yes.
the indigenous and see like, oh yeah, indigenous doing it.
Yeah, we romanticize these cultures, and as though
Yeah.
in the West, as though they were somehow perfect in every way, or we should look to them in
Yeah.
every aspect. I think we in the West, we also have some, our own things to add. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
we need to bring these two cultures together, really,
Yeah.
and not that we give up everything and we start doing everything the way the indigenous do it.
And talking about the shaman I talked with, during his training, which has lasted about 5 years in the jungle, he was eating only fruit. So he was like mostly fruitarian at that time, and he's also his I think his grandparents who taught him, he was also living vegetarian and rarely eat meat.
Mm.
So people who are even in the indigenous who connecting to source and connecting to higher
Mm.
perspective, they won't
Mm.
let themselves go behind, like after their
Mm.
habits or whatever you call it.
Yeah. Jalen is saying, where did it go? I agree 100%. I feel that backlash is a huge thing, especially when going raw and integrating spiritual practice. Awareness can expand so fast, can be too much for some. You know what? This is what happens to me sometimes. Like, I try to do juice fasting and I just end up, I can't sleep because I'm downloading information all night long and I'm just like feeling buzzing and out of body, you know? And then sometimes I eat cooked food as well. And I do it consciously out of choice because I can feel that it's not necessarily that my body at a physical level needs it, but it's more of an energetic need for me to feel myself grounded within my body. And I know there are other ways to do that, as I've mentioned before, but that's what I do sometimes.
John said he felt that way on ayahuasca and San Pedro. Yeah, we also felt like a lot of light energy coming to us during the ceremony. I feel the integration after the plant medicine ceremony is so important because you ground those information and those downloads that you get from those amazing medicinal plant in your lifestyle. So I see the integration is really important so you can maintain this or longer this effect of the plant medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. And John is saying that it's really hard to stay completely vegan. Um, I'm curious, John, what is it that you feel when you feel drawn to eat something like animals or milk or something? I don't know what you eat exactly. Yeah, what is it that draws you to that? What's the feeling you get from it? And someone says here, Joy VDW is saying that once you start eating lighter, you cannot ignore the emotional work and the shadow work. And
Yeah,
this
I
is
can't
the
agree anymore.
key why
Yeah.
it's so hard for people to change the diet.
Yeah. Or maintain the diet because
Yeah.
whenever you eat lighter, the shadows might start coming up. And if you don't have the technique and the knowledge to deal with it, then you would feel overwhelmed with maybe like heavy emotion that's coming to the surface and so on.
And this is another huge reason I think why people go back as well. Like, they might be able to maintain the diet for about a year, and then eventually their bodies has shifted its vibration enough so that now the emotional body has to purge.
Yeah.
So
We
all
call
the
it the
emotional
emotional detox.
wounds, yeah, the wounds start coming up. What was the reason why you needed to eat that heavy food and the animals in the first place? Was it because of abandonment trauma, and that's your comfort? That's
Yeah.
to fill the void. So now that you don't have that coping mechanism, that pain is gonna come up. And you know what? Our core wounds are super intense.
Yeah.
Abandonment wound, super intense. And if you're not able to be with that and process through that, you're going to have to find another coping mechanism. Either you go back to eating what you were eating before,
Or you start
or you find
smoking.
something else.
Yeah, or internet addiction, whatever.
Hmm. Yeah. And I also don't want to like criticize the indigenous. Someone is saying again about the islanders, it's about respecting what you consume. You know, I can only talk for myself. And I feel very strongly that once we reach a certain level of awareness, there is a certain moral responsibility that we hold. Of course, we don't hold a cat responsible morally for killing mice because it's at a different level of development. It doesn't
It doesn't
have
have
that.
free will.
It doesn't have that capacity to make a different choice. But I know from within myself, I can feel that there is right and wrong for me. There is natural law, and it's possible to go against natural law. And there is karma for the same reason it's part of natural law.
Yeah, and
you
there
know.
is like, I mean, if people don't have any kind of food and they are starving to death, I would maybe consider discussing that, oh, they can hunt. But I don't see any human being living in this situation now in 2021.
Mm. Yeah.
The bigger picture saying that we need to grow your own food, I so agree with this. Yeah, I think growing our own food is so important, especially in this time, to not be dependent on the system and dependent on the grid, which is, you can see it's falling. We have some videos about it actually.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we love here in this community that we're staying right now. We are actually paying guests here. And we love picking the oranges and the mandarins from the trees, and we drink the juice every
yeah,
day. It's so
it's really
vibrant,
beautiful.
and there is some really nice things growing here. Wild, such as chayote. I don't know what that is in English. They call it air potato here, or papa
Yeah,
del aire.
yeah. Okay, if you have any questions, ask us and we'll
Yeah, let
answer
us
it
know
before
if
we
there is
close it.
more.
Yeah, it was fun to come live and chat with you guys.
Mm.
We try to do it every second week.
And
And you go ahead.
I go first. Um, I just want to still say, that if you are aspiring to be vegan, someone here was saying that it's difficult. One of the most important things here, in order to make it sustainable, is to not beat yourself up when you don't manage to do it. You all, self love is the most important thing here. And once you're able to love yourself, even when you fail,
Mhm.
it's going to get much easier because you're not polarizing internally anymore, you know? So I really want to encourage you to be loving to yourself, even if you eat the cheese and you feel bad about it. Please don't feel bad about it, and just love that part of you that
Mhm.
ate the cheese, and
And
know that
from
it's
and from that space you can make a more sustainable decision. Like if you, like for me, I remember to be here, this is my 13 or 14 years being not eating animals, and to be here I had like many phases where I was eating animal products like
mm,
some milk product or like some chocolate, and then I would go back, and then it helped me to be sustainable, that I don't beat myself up for every mistake or every time I went back to eat those. And it's been like over 7 years or 8 years now. I've been fully vegan, and I'm loving it, and it feels like it's coming from integrity. It feels like I'm continuing this, and I will not go back to eat that animals or
mm,
animal products anymore.
mm,
And I also want to invite you guys. We have our group sessions on Saturday. So I would invite you to join us. We do a lot of deep dive and inner work, and yeah, it's an amazing place to deal with our resistance. The next workshop will be about life purpose. So we will help you to release any resistance regarding your life purpose and what hold you back from being fully in your mission in life.
mm.
And the early bird ticket ends today. There's only 4 tickets left.
Yes,
So if you
yes.
like to join, come get your ticket, and we love to see you on Saturday.
Mm. Yes, thank you so much, guys. So needed that you shine your light on the connection of eating live food and emotions coming up, difficulties coming from that.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely, Joy. Thank you so
Thank you,
much for
Joy.
being here. All of you, and all of
Yeah,
you, even those who challenge us, we appreciate you being here because you give us the reason
yeah.
to respond.
I hope. Yeah, thank you so much, and have a beautiful Sunday.
Yeah.